Yes, you read the title right. He almost hit me with a car. What am I talking about? I had just such an awesome time yesterday with the Lord. I had my quiet time. You know, those days where you just feel like everything is flowing like it should, and you're like, the sun is shining. Today is going to be a great day. So I did my chores on my to-do list. And I decided to go for a walk to get some steps in. So of course I'm already on cloud 9 because it was such a beautiful day, and like I said, I just felt so connected to the Lord. And I know it's not just about feelings, but you know, there's some days where you like, yes, Jesus, I feel your presence, right? So I decided to go for a walk, and I had Ty Tribbett blasting in my ear, and I'm just moving, right? And then I get to a certain part in my subdivision, and I'm getting ready to cross the street, and this car just like zoomed right in front of me, only to go and park like at a place that was just a few feet away. And I was just like, whoa, what just happened here? Like, you could tell the person was just not in a very good place at all. And I tell you, I was tempted to come off of the mountaintop. And I know you're like, well, what were you going to do? And you know, it's one of those things when you think about your initial response. It's like, what were you going to do, Anika? Get in the flesh and go over there and try to beat him up? Like, what are you thinking? You know, but honestly, in that moment, my flesh rose up. It really did. I didn't say anything, but I could just feel myself getting hot, because I'm like, how inconsiderate. Like, you almost totally ran me over with your car because you couldn't just wait for me to cross, you know, before you zoomed in. And like I said, I was just very angry. I was extremely upset. And all these thoughts were just kind of going through my mind in my anger, and the Holy Spirit arrested me. And it was like, okay, so what was all your other experiences about this morning? You know, this is where you put into play what took place when you were in my presence. And I just really had to pause and think, like, God, this is why I'm living the Christian life. Not so that I could just always feel the presence of God, but so that I can respond in the proper way when I am put in less than ideal situations, right? I was in his presence, not so that I could just be like, oh yes, I went to the mountaintop, but so that the mountaintop, when I come down or life takes me down from the mountaintop, that I have the correct response. So I had to just really, you know, almost laugh as the Holy Spirit checked me, and you know, was just like, okay, let's put this into the proper perspective. So I went from being angry to saying, God, I was in your presence this morning, and you visited me the way you did in preparation for what was to come, so that I could have the proper response. And thankfully, you know, I didn't stay in the place of being angry for the entire day and letting it just throw me. Within a minute, the Holy Spirit checked me, and I just began to pray for the person. I began to pray, not for the Lord to get them for being, you know, mean to me, but I began to pray that whatever it was that was going on in their lives that had caused them to just be in such a rushed and angry state, and to even be so inconsiderate, that the Lord would just touch and, you know, make his presence be made known to them. Like, I went again from being angry to a place of intercession. And I just realize that there's going to be other tests that come my way, but I have to make sure that I'm having the right response. I think as believers, we can get so caught up in our experience with the Lord in our quiet time, and we don't let what takes place in our quiet time spill over into how we live our life. So what that you spend 20 hours with the Lord, and that's wonderful, but are you applying what took place when you were in his presence. Because if not, it's really all for naught. It's not just about, it's just me and Jesus. The reality is that we live in a world with other individuals. So it's about my relationship with Jesus, and even my relationship with others, how I respond to others, how I respond in those tough situations. So I just want to encourage you. So many lessons were learned for me in that particular situation that, number one, I have to, again, take what I learned from my quiet time and apply it to my daily living. And number two, for those that may do us wrong or harm us in any way, whether it's emotionally or whatever the case may be, that we not approach them from a place of anger, but really find ourselves in a position of just really interceding and praying on their behalf, and not just be focused on what they did wrong to us, but focus on the fact that their actions must have been driven by something that's wrong in their own lives. So I'm going to end there. You want to say hello?
Hi.
All right. All right. You be blessed.